Imagine waking up tomorrow to a world where the temperature has dropped 50 degrees Celsius overnight, where the sun barely rises, where everything you know, every forest, every coastline, every familiar landmark is buried under a mile of ice. This is not a dystopian future. This is what your ancestors survived. 20,000 years ago, the Earth entered the peak of the last ice age. Glaciers stretched from the North Pole down to where London, New York, and Chicago now stand. Sea levels were 120 meters lower than today. What is now the English Channel was a frozen plain where humans walked from Britain to Europe. And in this world, cold enough to kill you in minutes, dark enough to lose your mind, Homo sapiens not only survived, they thrived. The question is, how? The last glacial maximum lasted from roughly 26,500 to 19,000 years ago. At its peak, 30% of Earth's land surface was covered in ice. Temperatures in Europe and North America averaged 10 to 15 degrees Celsius, colder than today. The megafauna ruled this world. Woolly mammoths, 4 meters tall, weighing 6 tons, roamed the frozen steppes in herds. Cave lions prowled the tundra. Woolly rhinoceroses charged across open plains. Giant cave bears, twice the size of a modern grizzly, competed with humans for shelter. This was not a world that welcomed small, naked primates. Yet here we are. The secret was fire. But not just any fire. Archaeological evidence from sites across Europe shows that Ice Age humans had mastered fire management 40,000 years ago. They didn't just light fires, they engineered them. Hearths, found in caves in France and Spain, show controlled burning with specific fuel types chosen for heat output and burn duration. In sites like Dolní Věstonice in the Czech Republic, archaeologists found evidence of kilns, primitive furnaces used to fire clay figurines 26,000 years ago. These people were not just surviving, they were experimenting, creating, innovating. They wore layered clothing sewn with bone needles, evidence of tailored garments fitted at the wrists, ankles, and neck to trap body heat, has been found in permafrost sites in Siberia. Not draped animal skins, tailored clothing, the difference between survival and death in minus 40-degree temperatures. They also did something that no other species has ever done to survive a climate catastrophe. They built social networks. Genetic studies of Ice Age human populations show that groups separated by hundreds of kilometers were exchanging mates, tools, and materials. Shell ornaments from the Mediterranean coast have been found in archaeological sites 500 kilometers inland. Flint from specific quarries was traded across entire continents. These were not isolated bands stumbling through the cold. They were connected communities sharing knowledge, technology, and resources across vast distances. When one group's hunting ground became icebound, they could move. When one group's food supply collapsed, others could share. The network was the survival strategy. And then there is the art. Deep inside the cave systems of France and Spain, Lascaux, Chauvet, Altamira, Ice Age humans painted. They painted with extraordinary skill. Horses in motion, bison mid-charge, cave lions prowling in packs. The Chauvet cave paintings are 36,000 years old. When professional artists and art historians first studied photographs of them, many assumed they were forgeries. The technique was too sophisticated, too modern-looking, too skilled. They were not forgeries. They were made by people who had never been to art school, who had no tradition of painting to learn from, who worked by flickering firelight deep in caves that required hours of crawling to reach. Why? Why go to such effort? Why risk getting lost in total darkness, miles underground, to paint animals on a wall? We don't know. We may never fully know. But the paintings were not random. They were deliberate. Many show the same animals repeatedly, in the same poses. Some appear to depict movement, sequences of legs, suggesting a galloping animal. Some researchers believe they were narrative, stories, instructions, records of hunts. Others believe they were spiritual, a connection to something beyond survival. Whatever their purpose, the art tells us one thing with certainty. These were not primitive people struggling to stay alive. These were fully modern human minds, as complex and creative as any alive today, working in one of the harshest environments the planet has ever produced. Then around 12,000 years ago, the ice began to retreat. It did not go quietly. The end of the Ice Age was not a gentle warming. It was a series of violent climate swings. The Younger Dryas event, roughly 12,800 years ago, saw temperatures plunge back to near glacial levels within just a few decades, then rise again. Coastlines flooded as ice melted. Entire ecosystems collapsed. The megafauna did not survive. The woolly mammoth, the woolly rhinoceros, the cave lion, the giant cave bear, all gone within a few thousand years of the ice retreating. Were humans responsible? Almost certainly, at least in part. As the megafauna lost their cold habitat, human hunters followed them into shrinking refuges. The combination of climate change and human predation appears to have been lethal. We survived. They didn't. What does it mean? The Ice Age humans were not primitive. They were brilliant. They solved problems that would challenge our best engineers today. Staying warm without synthetic materials, navigating without GPS, feeding communities of hundreds in environments with almost no plant food. They did it through the same tools we still use: innovation, cooperation, and the ability to pass knowledge across generations. Every bone needle found in permafrost, every carved mammoth ivory figurine, every handprint stenciled on a cave wall 30,000 years ago. These are not relics of a primitive past. They are proof that the human drive to create, to make something, to leave a mark, to communicate across time, is not a product of civilization. It is what made civilization possible. The people who painted Lascaux and sewed tailored jackets and traded shells across continents did not know they were building toward agriculture, cities, writing, and everything that followed. They were just trying to survive, and in doing so, they became us. What part of you is still Ice Age human? The instinct to gather around fire, the need for a tribe, the compulsion to make art, tell stories, leave a mark. 12,000 years may feel like a long time, but in evolutionary terms, the Ice Age ended yesterday. We are still those people. We carry their DNA, their adaptations, their instincts. The next time you feel the pull of a fireplace on a cold night, or the urge to create something with your hands, or the comfort of being surrounded by people you trust, that is your Ice Age ancestor, still alive inside you. Subscribe to Paleo Sapiens. Every 2 weeks we dig deeper into where we came from, and what it means for who we are today. Click the bell, and tell me in the comments, what Ice Age instinct do you think is still the most powerful in modern humans? Thank you for watching. See you next time on Paleo Sapiens.